Hello, hello, hello. I'm Steven, and I'm your friend. And wow, today's topic is going to be a bit strange, probably unrelatable to a lot of people who may be watching this. But I sort of took inspiration from Dr. Bill Williams right here in Georgia. I'm in Atlanta. He's up in Swanee, sort of north of where I am. But he likes to give these sort of analogies. And I know he did one not too long ago about football. But the one that I would like to make today really strikes home, and I'm hoping people can sort of get the analogy. In fact, what I would suggest is for anybody who's interested to go and look up a documentary on Secretariat. And Secretariat is a racehorse, and he was actually known as God's horse. And the impact that he had on people's lives was nothing short of spectacular. And I feel it's sort of appropriate because we talk about OnPassive being a unicorn company. And of course, unicorns are mythical creatures and horses are real, but they sort of fall into the same equine category. So I watched the movie that was done on Secretariat. Actually, I watched it more than once, and each time I watch it, tears come to my eyes because of what this horse accomplished. Again, it was nothing short of miraculous. It was never seen before and has never been done since. And I believe what we have on our hands with OnPassive is very, very similar. That's why I wanted to make that analogy. To sort of bring home in probably something that can be more real, because we have not yet experienced OnPassive and all the greatness that it's going to do in our lives. But if you watch a documentary on Secretariat, or even watch the movie itself, you'll sort of get an idea of what I'm trying to accomplish here today. Because Secretariat was known as Big Red because it was like a chestnut gelding, a chestnut horse. And I like to think of OnPassive as the Big O. The Big O. And we know that the letter O, and I'll probably do another video on the letter O another time, but the O is really significant, because we know of all the different O's that we have going on with OnPassive. But Secretariat was known as Big Red. And he was sort of he knew what he was. People who knew him or was up close to him on a daily basis say like he had a personality. He was sort of a arrogant horse, if you can use that term. But he knew what he was. And OnPassive know what it is. So when he came on the scene, nobody really knew what to expect. And in the first couple of races, like I lived in Kentucky, in Louisville for a couple of years, so I was able to go to Kentucky. Now, I haven't been to the Kentucky Derby itself, but I've been to Churchill Downs. And again, those of you who might not be able to relate, we have a series of races called the Triple Crown here in the States, and it's done over 3 races: the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont. And Secretariat, in the first race, he was sort of known at the time, but he was like always coming from the back. So in the Kentucky Derby, he came from the back and won. In the Preakness, he came from the back and won. And again, I feel OnPassive is like the unknown. Nobody really knows in the internet world what OnPassive really is, and we are sort of coming from the back. But at the end, we'll be in the winner's circle. And I really would like you guys to take a look at that documentary or the movie itself, because in the Belmont, the last race of the Triple Crown, Secretariat was unleashed. And I feel come the end of this year, or probably later depending on what happens, OnPassive is going to be unleashed on the world. And I feel it's hard to watch that race and see what Secretariat accomplished in that race, and it doesn't move you to the very core of your being. And I really believe that OnPassive will do the same for us, because in that race he didn't come from behind, he led from the front, and at the end of the race he was 31 lengths ahead of the horse in second place. So again, I feel it's an appropriate analogy for OnPassive, because once we hit the ground, guys, girls, ladies, gentlemen, nothing will be able to compete with us. We would be so far ahead of the crowd that would be an impressive sight to see. And in that race, in the Belmont race, people were in tears because of what they were seeing. Never in the history of horse racing was that sight seen, and people were coming from all over the nation to witness it. People in their living rooms were in tears. And again, the analogy I feel is appropriate, because at the time it was during Watergate, when the whole nation was in turmoil. People wasn't sure what was happening with the presidency and all that sort of stuff. And here comes a horse that sort of united people, sort of gave people hope to dream again, to see what was possible. He was like a celebrity. Wasn't like a celebrity, he was. He was one of the 50 top athletes. A horse being an athlete of the year. He was on the cover of magazines. And I truly, in the depths of my heart, believe that's what OnPassive is going to be for millions and millions of people worldwide. It's going to be a hope, and they're going to witness something that they have never seen before when OnPassive hit that racetrack and start distancing itself from the pack, from the big name horses that have been in the race before us. So people were drawn to Secretariat for that reason. And like I said, I call him God's horse. There were other horses like War Admiral, who was known as the People's Horse, and another horse, Sea Biscuit. I think one was known as the People's Horse, and one was known as the Nation's Horse, or whatever it was. But Secretariat was known as God's horse, and OnPassive will be God's unicorn, in my opinion. God's unicorn. So he came about this greatness not only through his own efforts either. He had a team behind him, his owner, Miss Penny. Again, somebody that nobody paid attention to, but she believed in what she had with Secretariat. And we have an owner in Ash Mufara who believes in what he has with OnPassive. And it's through that belief, that faith, and that drive of never giving up, she produced a horse that captivated a nation, captivated a world with the impressive feat that he accomplished. And I want to also refer again to that race. In that race, he went faster and faster and faster as the race progressed. People were in utter disbelief at what they were seeing. Never had they seen a horse perform like Secretariat did in that race, the Belmont. In fact, a lot of people thought he would die on the track because he was going faster and faster as the race progressed. And guys, girls, ladies, gentlemen, what OnPassive is going to unleash on the world is going to be a similar feat. We're going to be going faster and faster and faster as we progress. Because out the gate, We have over 242,000 members now. And at launch, we'll be around 400,000 or whatever number is. But we are going to be going faster and faster and faster as we progress along that race once we are unleashed to the world. So that movie and the documentary moved me to tears, because I was just envisioning what I had put myself in front of with OnPassive, and was just tears of gratitude, actually, that I'm in a position now to sort of experience what a jockey felt like on Secretariat during that race. He actually said he gave the horse his rein. He wasn't riding a horse. He was along for the ride. And that's what we all are, ladies and gentlemen, friends. We are along for the ride that is OnPassive, on the super unicorn that was created and bred and nurtured by our owner, Mr. Ashma Farah. So in closing, like I said, probably a lot of you might not be able to relate. Horse racing is pretty popular, but not everyone in the world knows or participate in it. I grew up in Jamaica, and horse racing is really popular there. And like I said, I lived in Kentucky, and the Derby was a big event. Celebrities from all over the world come to the Kentucky Derby every year. But that Triple Crown nobody thought it would be achieved again after, I believe, the last horse that did it for 25 years before it was achieved again by Secretariat. And what we are going to experience with OnPassive, a lot of people don't believe possible. But guys, as I said before, girls, ladies, gentlemen, we are along for the ride. And it will be achieved. And we'll be in that winner's circle. And all of us, we're proud to know that we bought that winning ticket when we paid our $97 to become OnPassive GoFunders. So, until next time, this is Steven, signing out.